Okay, so now Carnivale season 1, episode 4. This will be my last one of the night. I need to get some sleep because I'm feeling drowsy. But again, this one is a very a soup without a lot of meat, just like the last one. It's centered around a storm. But even though like this one, like last episode 3, I felt was like very much filler. This one, this one felt like artistic filler, but like the way that the filler was, it was to progress the story along. So, this one was still better than last week. I mean, last week. Look at me. Last episode. I literally watched all these in one day. Okay, so it's centered around a storm called a black blizzard, which is basically like a huge dust storm, and everybody is taking shelter somewhere. They end up somewhere, and it starts off with just like it seems like they made it. They made the beginning of the episode really feel like the calm before the storm, because there really was nothing going on in the beginning. It was just like a what would be a calm day for the carnies. Like they were chilling, they were talking, they were discussing, like they were talking about where they were going, like Babylon. Nobody wanted to go there. There are so many like rumors and old tales about terrible things happening to carnies in Babylon. And also it seemed like a few of the people were avoiding Ben. I'm guessing because he got demoted by Samson. They didn't go into it. And Ben ended up going to talk to Lud, because he asked for him, and Lud said he had something to show him. So they get in the car and they head out. And then Sophie, she's about to leave. Her mom warns her that it's not a good weather day. And Sophie ignores her. And like she says, oh, it's a beautiful day outside, which is really trippy, because obviously her mother has really strong psychic powers. So the fact that Sophie would be so just flippant at her warning seems like a plot hole, like a hole in the script. Cause why? And Sophie's not like some ignorant teenager. Like I don't know how all these characters are supposed to be, but I like before this action, I would have assumed she was at an age where her brain was fully developed. But based on that decision, she might not be. She could pass for a younger. I don't know. Anyway, so Sophie goes off to pretend like she's some sort of damsel in distress, and she has this whole little game she likes to play where she pretends to be someone else. She has this fantasy life. She's a widow that had a once glorious husband who got down on his luck and turned bad and then ended himself. And, she's, just out here floating around in the world, and she garners the sympathy of this guy who runs it looks like maybe like a small diner, coffee shop place. And he's obviously married, but she ignores this and continues to do this. And when the storm rolls in on her and she takes shelter in his place of business, and then they end up, getting it on, it's on the floor, and she's like silently crying. I don't know if it's because she's worried about her mom. It could have been she was worried about her mom because of the storm. Because this is all something she wanted to do with the guy. But I don't know, it was just very weird. And then on the side of Ben, he was with Lutz in the storm in the car, and then Lutz got out and walked out, and then Ben went to chase him, and they got to this cabin, and Lutz like, welcome. And then he starts talking about the fact that It was a black blizzard like that one that killed Lud's mother. I don't know how it killed her, if it caused her respiratory problems or something. It seems like that's probably what happened, because I never knew exactly what happened to his mom, but that makes sense. And Ben gets all hyped up and says, "Stop it!" And then the storm stops. And then he's so surprised about the storm stopping. And Lud said, "You did that." And he didn't believe it, and he was freaking out. And then the storm started back up. And Lud's like, "You did that too." He was like, "Only God can change the weather." And Lud's like, "You can't deny who you are, not even to yourself." So now, me as an audience member, I don't know what the hell, what type of person Ben is, because I thought he was a healer, which he obviously is, but it's not like just from Charm, where you just magically can heal. It's a consequence for this action, like we learned in the last episode. And but then on top of that, he gets these dreams that gets implanted. Obviously, based on what Miss Donovan said in the last episode, those dreams are coming from his dad, Shutter, being sent to him. That was the word that she said. So I don't know if he could send dreams like Shutter can, but obviously he can control these storms. I don't know if he can control other weather patterns. Apparently he's very powerful and magical, because Lud said he would trade his eyes for even a fraction of what Ben can do. And so far, we only seen a fraction of what he can do. I just named them all. Healing, starting to stop the black blizzard, and the dreams, which seem to be just, I don't even want to call them prophetic dreams. It's just been weird. And he has some kind of connection with the pastor, Brother Justin. So, and then that was his thing with the storm. And Lud still, I still don't know his intention, because when we came back, the bearded lady was like, "Did you get what you wanted from him?" And Lud was like, "More." So I don't know what's going on with Lutz. He's I don't know what his goals are or his intentions are. And so that was them. And then Samson was with a lady of the evening during the storm. Someone that I guess he was regular every time he comes through this town, because she knew him. They had a wonderful little afternoon together. And then the storm came in, and then his driver had to run in for shelter, and they were sitting all in there in the living room in this ex-worker's home, which is a very lovely home. She had done nice for herself, and it was miles above the tragedy of the display we've seen in these last episodes of the majority of these people in this show. And so this ex-worker was doing very well, running a great business. And the driver, Samson's driver, was like, "I got $2. She said, "Okay." Samson got extremely jealous. And then they came back down, and he decided to toy with them. He broke one of her little, I don't know, tchotchkes, or I forget what it was, like a little vase or something. Out of anger, he said it was the wind. There are no windows open. And then he said, "Oh, business person to business person, how many tricks do you turn? You can make more money if you shorten the amount of time you spend with each client. Let's see how long you could take on whatever his driver's name is." And she said no, and kept raising the price. And then she ended up saying, "Hey, I'm going to take him upstairs for free. I like this boy." And she just did it because Samson was pissing her off. And then when they left, Samson ended up giving her the money anyway and said it was for her broken vase. And then she told him never come back. So that was that. back on Carnivale, Jonesy got the Joneses. Terrible. Jonesy wanted to speak to management because he wanted to know if they need to go to shelter, which was weird because like during the storm, like they just had to shelter in place, and for some reason the door was still open on the trailer to Sophie's mom trailer, so she was covered in sand. And they had to like have her cough up all the sand that went down her throat. It was a very disgusting display. But I like, why the hell would she leave the door open? Very weird, unless it was blown open. But when she left, I don't remember her closing the door. So again, I hope they don't have any more of these script blunders. I wouldn't even call them plot holes. These script blunders with Sophie. I hope they do not fumble her character. But it's looking scary. So, yeah. And so, Jonesy got curious. He took the keys that he got from Samson and he went into management and was talking, and then he moved the curtain and the wizard wasn't there. There was no one behind the curtain of Oz. Which in this movie doesn't actually mean that there's not a management person there. That just means that Jonesy didn't see the management person. But it didn't matter. He was pissed. And then when he saw Samson, he had a terrible attitude. And it seemed like Samson figured out the issue because at first he was confused, but then he looked at the keys and then he looked up like he knew. So, I don't know. Either way it goes, Jonesy's pissed off because he thinks that Samson's been lying about the information he's been getting from management because he doesn't think there's any management there because when he checked, it was empty. Okay, which is also very confusing. I hope they explain this in the next episode because it seemed like Samson was in the know like Luds a little bit, somewhat. And then we go back to brother Justin and his congregation, his new church at the old Mr. Chin's got set on fire with the children inside. A very tragic display at the end of the episode. Very sad. I think this is going to start his villain arc for real. Because at first I was really suspect of him with like the blood rain and like the ominousness around him and the whole religious aspect that made him seem like an automatic villain. But the way he just let that pedo go, awful. But the way he wanted to take care of the children in his congregation in a way that was non-predatory made him a non-villain to me. But him falling to his knees and crying over those children that met the fate of dying in that fire at a place that he put his work in to make it safe for them. I think that is the shift. They think that's the push. So whatever force is driving him, this powerful thing that's behind him that he has equated to being God, I think the master plan is to push him over the edge. So if you're going to push someone over the edge, this would be the way to do it in the most gut-wrenching way. That last scene was very powerful. This whole episode was very artistic. From the beginning, the calm before the storm to the storm, and each one of them having their own storm, to deal with, and showing different traits about them. The pettiness from Samson because the prostitute that he chosen to live out his little fantasy with got ruined because the reality came into play that this is a person that does this for a living, and he got petty and mean. And then Jonesy desire for a higher leadership role, because that was the only reason why he went in national management. Because why is Samson the only one that can talk to management? He was trying to push himself up. That showed something with him. It showed different vulnerabilities for all the characters. You've seen a lot of vulnerabilities and the weird quirks of Sophia, and the naivete of her as well. Because there are no ages have been given, but her actions make me think of someone who doesn't have a fully developed brain, but a grown adult, but dumb in the way that only youth can be. And it be thought of as just young and dumb. So, and then we saw the development of understanding how magically gifted and powerful our Ben is. Ben Hawkins. And then they just set us up for the next episode, which is called Babylon, because that's what they'll be. But this was a very well put together episode. It was very beautiful. We saw the calm before the storm, we saw the storm, and we saw the aftermath of the storm, which we saw the physical aftermath with the carnies, because you can see what happened outside, and how much sand and dirt and just the terribleness of it. But we also saw the aftermath of a storm with Brother Justin, with what happened to those kids and Mr. Chins. So, yeah, beautifully done. Beautifully done. But, I definitely like the first and second episodes. Those are setup episodes, so there was a lot of meat in there to get into. But as an episode being in the season, after we already got through a lot of the mysteries of the first and second episode, the third one was definitely one that gets a gold star. Okay, so I'm going to go to sleep now. I will be back with season 1, episode 5. And thank you for watching, whoever's watching. But like I said, if you build it, they'll come. And I'm making these videos, and somebody will be watching this. Well, listening, because this is obviously audio. So, all right.